Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday. God bless you all. Welcome to It Cost Me Everything. I'm really excited about this broadcast this morning. So when you come in, please like and share. Leave some comments. Let us know that you're joining us. And be sure to share this broadcast with others so that we can encourage one another. I like to have different people on this platform so that all of us can always know that we can be encouraged no matter what situation or what circumstance we find ourselves in. So I'm really looking forward to talking to my special guest Tina Roberts today. We grew up together in the same church, same hometown. It's amazing, and I love seeing what she's doing in the community and the things that she has going on. It's really a blessing to be able to see that. So before we get started, I'm going to go over a few announcements really quickly. So if you are able to join, let me pull it up. I got to get all of it up. Good Lord. On this platform, It Costs Me Everything, relevant teaching for living today. You can join me on usually on Saturdays. And sometimes I come on as the Lord leads. If it's something in between that out, whatever, I try to be flexible. But I usually do things on Saturdays at around this time, 11 Central, 12 Eastern. And I have different guests on, or I do a teaching, or however, whenever I come on whenever he tells me to come on. So you can feel free to follow me on Facebook. It Costs Me Everything. On YouTube, It Costs Me Everything as well. Every Saturday, there's something going to be coming on this page every Saturday, whether it's a live, whether it's a guest, every week. And, I'm always encouraging us as people of God, wanting us to stay encouraged. So feel free to follow me on there and to join me as well. And you can join my husband and I on Becoming One Flesh. We come on second and fourth Thursdays at from 5 p.m. Central Time to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, and we're on Facebook. So you can feel free to follow us there. We have a book we wrote together as well, What God Has Joined Together, and you can find that book on Amazon. And we tell our journey on the way to the altar, before the altar, after the altar. So much happened. But we just kind of share our journey and share encouragement for couples who are going through different things. Also, join me once a month for Wifey Wednesdays on Becoming One Flesh. My husband have an extension. I have to download the flyer. I didn't get time to do that today. But he has Men of Truth. He just started on every third Wednesday. Every third Monday of every month. And I do Wifey Wednesdays every last Wednesday of every month, just once a month. And so just come on to give some encouragement or share some lessons I've learned as a wife. I've learned a lot of things over the years through trial and error, and I share those things with you. And I'm very open and honest. I like to keep it real. I like to be, to use common sense and talk about things that are really real and things that we may struggle with in our relationship. So please be sure to join me once a month on that. And you can follow Becoming One Flesh for that as well. Also, if you know anyone or you yourself may be interested in coming on Kingdom Keys Network, this is a network that started by Jessica Veal, and my husband and I are part of the network. We are Kingdom Principles is on that network, and also Becoming One Flesh. So if you know someone who want to come on and encourage people, you want to have a place where you can encourage the people, you can feel free to contact her on Kingdom Keys Network. You can follow them on Facebook. You can follow them on YouTube, and you see all the platforms at the bottom of this. YouTube, Google TV. It's a free app you can download, and you can follow them there. There are a lot of other people on the network, different things that they talk about. So you can definitely come on there and be encouraged. But if you know someone or if you are interested in joining the network, please get in contact with Jessica Veal. Or go to the Kingdom Keys Network and send her a message, because there's room for everybody. It's enough work for everybody to do. All righty. So I think we're ready. I don't think we're going to delay the time. I don't want to delay her time. It's Saturday. Y'all know how that goes. So we're going to go ahead and bring her up. Let's welcome Tina Roberts. Hello.
Hello. Hey, how are you?
I am fine, and I'm so excited, for you being here. Thank you so much for saying yes to come on here and to share your life with us. I'm really excited about having you on here. So can you tell us something about yourself?
Well, first, I want to say thank you for the invitation. I was excited when I received that message from you. I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Because for me, it goes all the way back for us to being at Bethlehem Baptist Church in Hampton, South Carolina, good old SC. And I know a lot of people always say, why is she always talking about South Carolina? Because that's home. Home is where the heart is, okay? And so to have those divine connections with people from home, and we used to sing on the youth choir together. Miss Simpson was our leader. And the fact that my mom and all them, they still go to Bethlehem. So, and to know your family, the roots, everybody were always singers. I just feel like it's the fabric of our being, just being born and raised in good old South Carolina. I love it. So, yep. And here I am, Tina Roberts, on your show. And forgive me if I still call you Sudie. That's what I know you as. I'm like, oh crap! I gotta call her Yolanda, not
The
Sudie.
secret is out.
Yes, but Yolanda, thank you so much for having me and inviting me to discuss my organizations, um, and to speak on some of my life journey. And as you said, Tina Brown Roberts. Most people know me as Brown. From out of South Carolina. My mom and dad, Eddie and Mary, 9 children, White House across the tracks. All of that great stuff. So I'm now, a wife, a mom, a sister, auntie, and for the first time, I am sharing with the world. I'm about to be a glam tea. So I'm so excited. My son and his fiance are expecting their first bundle of joy in February of 2025, and it's a little girl. So we are so excited, and I know a lot of the ladies in the organization. It was like, oh my goodness, that baby gonna be a little diva. So we are so excited. And I'm just happy to be here to share my journey. So whatever questions you want to ask, I'm free and open to share.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love where I'm from. I don't know
Yes,
about you, but whenever I get to go back home, because we were just came back from in July, it feels, I can't explain how good it feels to
can't
be able to
explain
go
it.
back home and be with your family and go to those spots,
Yes,
regions, and all. We buy Piggly Wiggly.
yes. Did you say Rigdon's?
Yes, I did, because I go to Rickden's. Oh my gosh, it was bad when I lived there. I was going there every week. It just feels good to be able to come
Yeah,
home and and see people we grew up with. It's just a good feeling, and I
yeah.
thank God for where we're from. It just feels good, to be able to go back
It
to that.
does.
And congratulations,
Yeah.
and that baby is going to be off the chain because I'm born in February. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, great things on the horizon. So, but yeah, like I said, SC is like it's home, and like I said, when you see people that you grew up with, and then now to see all of what everybody's doing now in this time period and this at this point in their life, it's just a blessing. It's a blessing all the way around. And I mean, just to start a little bit on my journey, and like I tell everybody, your journey is your journey. It is not supposed to be like anybody else's. What happens with you, it stays with you. It's for you, and that's what God intended it to be. And and I normally tell people up front, while I love being on the platform and being able to speak and share and talk, um, I will say I am not an evangelist. I am not a preacher, any of that sort. But I am a woman of God. My faith is strong, and I'm simply just a vessel out here doing God's work, and that's what I have created with these organizations and for myself. My journeys, I've had some medical challenges along the way. One of the ones when I first, as a young child, and a lot of people don't know, and some may know now because I have written about it in different articles and such, where I battled a skin disease for many years, from about 7 years old till probably about 16. It was off and on. It was so bad, my arms and stuff would bleed, my head would bleed, my skin was really bad. I had rips in my skin. I can remember, as far as going back, it would be 100 degrees outside. And because I was so embarrassed and so ashamed of what I looked like, I would keep a sweater on. And it would, I mean, when I say hot, it would be screaming hot. But I kept a sweater on because that was my little security blanket, because I didn't want anybody to see or know what I was dealing with. But while my mom and my siblings, my dad, they all knew. But for me, that was how the insecurity started building. Very insecure, very low self esteem, little dark skinned girl from the South, all of that, small frame. And then now having a battle with the skin disease that went on for many, many years. A lot of my peers didn't even know that I was going through that. I'd missed a lot of days from school. And really, what happened to really kind of bring it all to a head, my mom would take, well, my mom and my grandmother. And I don't know if you remember Sister Sarah Francis. She used to do hair.
Ooh,
I believe her
yes,
son name is
ma'am. I
Sonar.
remember her, but we used to go
Sister
to
Sarah
her.
Francis.
Yeah, to get that roll of silk.
Yes,
We used to go
yes.
there.
We all would go to Sister Sarah Francis. Yeah, and she used to do a lot of mothers in the church, prepping them for Sunday and all of this stuff. So my mom and grandmom had taken me there because she had tried everything, back and forth with the doctors, all of that stuff. So, and by this time, the sores, everything had begun to form in my head. So as they were forming in my head, it began to protrude down my face. So it was almost like, how you would see a baby with a newborn baby with cradle cap. The cradle cap, it was literally crawling down my face, down the back of my neck. It was bad. It was everywhere. So Sister Sarah Francis convinced my mom to cut off all my hair. So when she cut off all my hair, Yolanda, when I tell you I thought I was going to lose my mind, I thought I was going to lose my mind. Because again, you're already dealing with the low self-esteem. Um, so when she cut off my hair, I looked like a little boy. And so my siblings had began to call me not Tina, but Tony. They was like, "Oh, look at her. She looks like a little boy." So they would call me Tony. And it stuck with me for many, many years. So when she cut off my hair, and I know from being at home, she had, like, I call them concoctions, where she had put different ingredients together, more like herbal ingredients, where she created some type of solution, like a shampoo for my mom and grandmom to wash my hair with. And I tell you, I'm going to say probably within 2 to 3 months, you literally would see the sores begin to dissipate. Um, the hair started growing back. So whatever it was that Sister Sarah Francis had created, it was what sparked me. It kind of put me on my path, my journey. Now, even as a little kid, it gave me that self-confidence back. It built that self-esteem back in me, because as my hair began to grow, it grew back so pretty and thick and curly, all of that, and the sores had begun to go away. So for a long time, I struggled with that, because it was something that happened to me. And like I said, back then as a child, you don't know all of the adversities that you're going to face. God already has your steps ordered. He already know what you're going to go through. So for me back then, that was one, and I just couldn't understand it as a child. I'm just like, why am I the only one got to go through this? Because for me, it's 9 of us, and I'm number 7. But my dad always called me lucky number 7. That's just I don't know. Ever since I've been a baby, that's what he would always call me, lucky number 7. And as I grew older, I realized number 7 was completeness, and it meant wholeness. So for me, it meant the world to me, to be lucky number 7. But then I then began to realize what I thought was luck was really God's ordained as favor. So I say that to say, for whatever your trials and tribulations are, you can overcome anything. Um, but for me, it didn't stop there. It definitely didn't stop there. As time went on, and I learned even more with the number 7, and I always have to kind of refer to my notes sometimes, because for another illness that I wound up going through later on in life, sometimes it causes me to have slur speech. Sometimes it causes me to forget at the drop of a dime. Like, I can be in mid sentence and I will forget what I'm saying. Okay, it looks like it's lagging just a little bit, but I'll just keep talking. Can you hear me, Yolanda? Okay. And so then I later realized that the number seven meant I was directly connected to God, who is the center and creator of all things. So moving forward on my path of adulthood. Um, and I usually refer to this part of my life as seasons. All of this built me to the point to where I'm able to do the things that I'm doing now. Oh man, it was probably 2005, and then it happened again, probably almost 7 years later. I'd come home from work, and I refer to this as an independent woman, and it was season one. I had came home from work, was feeling tired, didn't think anything extra about it. We were in the middle of getting house number two built. So for us, you on top of the world. It was like, hey, I done built one house, and I'm gonna go over here and build house number two. So we were in this tiny little apartment while the house was being built, because the house that we moved from had it sold before the other house had finished, completed being built. So I came home from work and started feeling, I was okay, but I felt funny. I had like a nagging headache. Brushed the headache off, laid down on the couch, got up, and I remember my husband coming through the door. And as he came through the door, he just looked at me. And so I sat up and I'm like, something on me? And he said, how was your day? So I'm explaining to him how my day was. But meanwhile, I'm starting to feel funny, like a slurred speech. And so he said, well, I think we may need to go to the emergency room. So when I tried to go to the restroom, he stopped me from going to the restroom because he didn't want me to see myself. So at this point, I still had no idea what was going on with me, what had happened to me. And I'll give you a little bit of an accelerated version, not to take up so much time. So as we were racing down the highway, he finally gets me into the car. He never let me look at myself. So we're racing down the highway. We make it to the hospital. I get to the hospital, and I can see how they're looking at me, even the ladies behind the desk, the reception area. And so one of them immediately said, well, we need to get her to the back, pretty much as soon as possible. So in my mind, I'm still trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening. Is something wrong with me? I can tell something's wrong with me, but really from a body standpoint, I felt okay, but my head was hurting. So as we finally make it to the back, they're doing all types of tests, and we were there for a matter of hours. They did tests, they did MRIs, they did CAT scans, all of this stuff. So finally they came back with a diagnosis. And I remember it was a African American nurse. She was a younger nurse. She came in and she was explaining to myself and to my husband that their doctor was going to get the prescription going, and I was going to have some meds. And just really trying. She was treading lightly on what she was saying to me. And so by this time, my husband, while she was talking, my husband pretty much kind of like interjected. You know how your husband's always your protector first, always want to be the protector, always your number one supporter. So I think he did not want her to say to me specifically what she saw. So finally, what she ended up doing was she put her hand up mid sentence and she pretty much told him to stop. And so he stopped, and then by this time I'm in the bed, but I'm sitting up and I'm listening and I'm looking. And she says she's gonna have to see herself. And so from that point, she hands me a mirror, or she puts the mirror in front of me. And by this time, the doctors really hadn't come in to explain all of what had taken place. But she came in and she handed me the mirror, or she showed me a mirror. And at that point, that's when the devastation appeared, happened for me. Um, they came back and said I had a diagnosis of a facial paralysis called Bell's palsy. And for me back then, I had never heard of it. I had never heard of Bell's palsy. And then, we weren't doing a lot of, looking up things, all of that stuff. I didn't have my cell phone with me, anything like that. And so when I saw myself, it was just a shock of horror. I felt like I looked like a monster. Left eye was completely closed. One of my nostrils was completely closed. I couldn't breathe out of it. Um, The worst part for me was seeing that my face was completely folded in on one side. So my face was completely folded in, and my lips literally was on the opposite side of my face. So when I was talking, and I remember the feeling of my face feeling wet, it was because the saliva was coming out of my face, and then my eyes and stuff were draining. So my lips was completely on the opposite side of my face, to the point where when I would attempted to speak, I really could not speak. I was talking, but it was coming out gibberish. And for me, it was just pure devastation. Yolanda, when I tell you, that was one point in my life, and it used to be at a point where I could not talk about it without crying. But over the years, it has gotten much better, and I'm able to talk about it and explain to people what actually occurred and what happened. Um, so from there, I had months and months of it just seemed like weeks of treatment. I was going back and forth to the doctor, and for me, I was just mad. I was mad at everybody. I was mad at the entire world, and worst of all, I was mad at God. I was mad at God. I was so disappointed. Um, because for me, I did everything that I was supposed to do, as a mom, as a wife. And you know what? I can feel these tears I can feel it welling up on me. So sometimes I'll take a breath. Um, I did everything that I was supposed to do, as a mom, as a wife, making sure my children were taken care of, my husband. So it was more of a questioning of, why would God do this to me? And at that point in time, I couldn't understand it. I did not accept it. Believe it or not, I had my husband cover every mirror in my home. I literally hid in my home for about 2 months. I hid from family, I hid from friends, I hid from coworkers. Like a lot of my family members, and I have a lot of sisters. They didn't know. We didn't, because I told my husband, because I know how my family is. They would have jumped in the cars. They would have came to Virginia in a heartbeat. And I was not at the place where I wanted people to see me, because I didn't even want to see myself. I was in there with covered mirrors. And so for me, I'm like, you know, just from my husband's standpoint, who wants to make love to a monster? How am I supposed to go to work looking like this? I look like a monster. Like, all of that stuff compacted in me. And I just had a really, really hard time. And fast forward, so when the treatments were not working, I went in one day, and my doctor that I had for many years, and a lot of times when you have the same physician, you build a rapport and relationship with them. And she sat me down, and I went in for, I think it was another follow up, and they were trying to figure out how they could do. They were called, like, it was almost like a sonogram, where they would do these warm impressions and put the jelly on and try to bring your muscles back in your face. So I went through a period of that for a really long time, and it just seemed to me nothing was working. Like, my face was still twisted. So my doctor says to me, she said, you know, I watch you coming here week after week, and your husband is right here by your side, to the point he is carrying your purse, he's carrying your shade. She said, but you so mean and hateful at this point, because now you mad at the world, you mad at everybody because what has happened to you. And she told me, she said, you need to stop and think about what you're doing to your family and to yourself. And it took her to say that to me, for me to realize the damage that I was causing internally for myself and externally for my family. Um, as I began to accept what had happened to me, and that to accept that appearance, I had to learn that appearance is not everything. I had to learn it for myself. So the more I began to show my own self love, my face began to come back to its normal state. So it took all of that in order for me to get to where I am now. And like I said, I'm just kind of giving you the accelerated version, not just so we could have so much time. So for that, like I said, I called it season 1 was I was an independent woman. Season 2 was the struggle. Season 2 was the downfall. Season 3 was the struggle. Season 4 was the revelation, and season 5, my goodness, that was my exodus. So then I had to learn for myself what I needed to do to get myself back on track and to trust God for what everything. Because for me, God takes us through all of these challenges for a reason. And that's why I say everybody's journey is different. And everybody has to learn their own self-value, your self-love, and not basically self-sabotage your own self because what has happened to you. He take you through this pain for a reason. And while I went through that pain actually showed me and gave me my purpose. So from there, once I started to heal and I started getting back on track and my face slowly came back into its normal state. Now I still have, things here and there. Like I said, every now and then, words would be slurred, or I'll forget things mid-sentence, or sometimes, even if I'll take a picture, sometimes now I can see from me, I can see that the one side of my face is lagging more than the other. But I had to get there. And like I said, with the grace of God, I was able to move forward. So, just for me, those journeys alone is what propelled me to do the things that I'm doing right now. Now I can freely say to women, love who you are. Be free to love the skin that you're in. Be free to be happy. Be free to basically create your own palette of happiness so that you can help another sister. Somebody else may be going through something so much more worse. Just like I was just sharing with you. I got a good girlfriend, going through a whole journey with cancer right now. We were just texting and talking prior to me getting on this the podcast, and I felt this gloominess just come over me. And I knew then, God was speaking to me, no, get up, you got to keep moving. You're going to continue to empower her just like you have to continue to empower yourself. Um so I say that to say, God is an amazing God. He shows us every time who he is, and we have to just believe and trust in him. And you have to have that strong sense of because what I have gone through, fear has no place here. Fear has no place here. I've sat here, I've had so many different things to occur within my life. Me and my son was in a building for school. Truck comes through the window. I literally see, a truck comes through the window of the building. And as we're sitting there, me and the instructor, I end up on top of the instructor as the old man had a medical emergency. He had a heart attack. And from the street, his truck came into the building where we were. So when I tell people, you can ever tell me that God isn't real, I literally saw my son, and back then he was maybe about 11 or 12 years old. As the truck came through the window, I ended up on top of the instructor. So when the truck came through the window, all the broken glass, the shrapnel was coming in at us. I literally saw my son go up into the air and end up on the opposite side of the room. But when I saw my son, I saw my dad. It was almost as if my dad came in, picked my son up out of the way of that moving vehicle, that target that came into that room, and placed my son on the opposite side of the room. Now, me and the instructor saw the same thing. So when it was all said and done, she even was floored, like, it looked like someone just picked him up and moved him while she and I was on the floor cut up, and the shrapnel had came into, all of the glass had came and we had cut us and stuff like that. My son left out of there unscathed. Nothing happened to him. He was standing on the opposite side of the room looking at us. By the time the EMTs and all this and all the emergency personnel got there, they checked him over and they said, well, was he in the room? And she and I both, yes, he was in here with us. So you cannot tell me when I say the grace of God and how good God is. That's why I screamed from the mountaintops. I saw it for myself. So even when we literally saw him go up into the air, I saw my dad, but it was my son standing there when it was all said and done. So nobody but God. So I've had a lot of different things to occur in my life where God has proven himself to me, and he's shown himself to me, and he speaks to me all day, every day. So, and I am truly grateful, just truly grateful.
Wow.
I think
It's lagging, but hey, we can hear you just fine. It may lag with your movement, but Thank God the sound is perfect.
Okay, okay.
What you saying, it's
See if I
all
can.
good. Trust me, the message is getting across, and that's just so powerful. It's something when you know God for yourself. People can say what they want, believe all these other stuff, that's fine. But when you have
Yeah,
experienced Him, His goodness, His grace, His love, and His mercy for yourself, nobody can take that away from you. And that's a blessing, to see what He did when you was dealing with that sickness, and
yeah,
how, how He took you, allowed you to go through that. But then, like you said, it was purpose in it. And if we can understand that nothing with
yes,
God is ever wasted. It don't
yeah,
feel good and it don't seem fair, but He's allowing it for a reason. And I love that you said that had you probably not gone through that, you probably wouldn't have the organization that you have now. So it was purpose and everything, like you said. And
right, right,
yeah, I love
right.
that. So can you share how you got started with the organization?
Yeah, so sure. So basically, oh gosh, back in 2015, me and my business partner D Kelly, we started the organization called No Ordinary Woman. And No Ordinary Woman was more from a retail standpoint. So we were doing, my neighbor was having what she called it a diva bazaar. So we said, oh, well, we'll go to the diva bazaar and we'll sell some items. And back then, my husband was in Korea. So he would ship all types of items to us. And, those were better quality items than what you would probably say out of New York or whatever. So, and we always had to sign up and say, hey, these are replica items. But still put them out there for women to purchase and to have, and not thinking anything more than, hey, we're just going to come and do this event, probably make a few bucks and just be done with it. Well, little did we know God turned it into something else. So, No Ordinary Woman, from that standpoint, we had so many ladies at that event that came to us and pretty much was, saying, oh my God, I would love to be able to purchase some of these items without having to break the bank. Or I want to be able to, basically be a part of what you all are doing. And at that time, it wasn't even an organization. It was just pretty much us, selling some stuff at an event. But in the midst of that, they started sharing their stories. They started sharing stories of domestic violence. They started sharing stories of, their cancer diagnosis. Some of them were single moms. Some of them were entrepreneurs trying to figure out how to get started. And so from there, we're looking at each other like, wow, what have we started here? So No Ordinary Woman was the retail entity of just myself and D Kelly. So fast forward, what grew from that was the 501c3, which is the nonprofit. And so the 501c3 is called No Ordinary Woman 2.0 Foundation. It was a total of 7 of us, and we all worked for the federal government. So some of those same ladies was with us at that Diva Bazaar. So when the ladies began to share all of their stories with us and asking, how can we, figure out a way to help them, we went and sat with an attorney. And that's when we created the 501c3 No Ordinary Woman 2.0 Foundation. And from there, that was the foundation is a non-member organization. So basically, it was just the board member. It was just the 7 board members. So as we began to do that, and that entity was created, that's entity number 2. So it was created to assist disadvantaged women across the state of Virginia, not knowing that it would, trickle over into other states. So from there, with the Now 2.0 Foundation, ladies kept asking, well, how can I be a part? Well, when we sat with the attorney, we didn't create a member organization. So when COVID came, um, that's how I created I Am Now, which actually stands for I Am No Ordinary Woman. So from there, and I'll back up a little bit. I'm going to say maybe somewhere between, I think it was around 2017, we had entered some type of competition or something, and you had to have women. They were posting pictures. So what we created the hashtag I Am Now back in 2017, but it was not an organization yet. So back then, everybody, I mean, it just exuded all across the world, various states. People started posting the hashtag I am now, I am now. And we were so excited. And then from there, that's when people started asking, well, how can I be a member? And then, pretty much when COVID came, it shut the world down. So from there, that is when I went ahead ahead and created the LLC for I Am Now so that we could turn it into a chartered member organization. And this way, ladies could be a part of the organization. So from there, that's pretty much how I Am Now was created. And I Am Now was created to sole purpose is to give back to the community. And that's what we do. So when I tell you I am so proud of I Am Now, I have chapters in South Carolina. South Carolina is actually the founding chapter. And of course, because I'm from there. And then I have a DMV chapter. And so now these ladies have gotten on board. And we have a lot of ladies asking. I put a little bit of a halt because it started growing quicker than what I was expecting for it to. So I have one brewing in Charlotte and then one upstate between New Jersey and New York. But I had to kind of put a little bit of a halt because it was taking off a little bit quicker than what I actually thought. So with I Am Now and the community service that we're doing, it's oh man, Yolanda, it's unbelievable. And when I say grateful, thankful, and pretty much what I did was created a system, and it's a network of professional women who are solely and really and truly doing God's work and giving back to the community. It's all about serving at this point. And just for me being, going through all of what I've gone through and being able to preach women empowerment, inspiration, having self-love. And that's what one of our mottos is: I'm free to be me unapologetically, because I am no ordinary woman. I can speak to the dark nights. I can speak to the crying. I can speak to not wanting to get up out the bed. I can speak on all of that because I went through it. So when I hear ladies share those stories with me, I'm able to inspire them and tell them what I went through to get them up in their feet and get them up and running. So with I Am Now, we are really and truly boots on the ground. When I tell you, hands on, working in the community, thriving in the community. We host women's conferences. And I know that the ladies, the SC chapter, they have mentorship programs with the school system, the local sheriff department, just doing a plethora of things. Oh gosh, I can't even tell you. And I know for right now, they have an event that's coming up in October, and that one is Jazz in the Hamptons. They have that one going on now, which is actually a breast cancer awareness event where they will honor some breast cancer survivors, and do it in a jazz realm. And then even afterwards, that they'll have an after party. And for the DMV chapter, we have Passionate Pink and Paint, which is a brushes and brunch fundraiser, which is another breast cancer fundraiser. So it's all encompassed in one. We all are doing the same thing. It's one organization, but we have separate chapters. But the primary goal is all of the same, and it's giving back to the community, hands on. And to speak on one of our other programs, and I know I'm probably going a million miles a minute. I get passionate when I start talking about the organization. We have from our 501c3, we have a signature program, and it's called Chaps, Caps, Covers, and Candy. It's called the 4Cs. Two of our board members are survivors. One is a breast cancer survivor, and one is I want to say colon cancer survivor. They would always share with us what they went through during their journey. So when we came up with the 4Cs: chaps, caps, covers, and candy. Chaps, because their lips would always be dry, they needed chapstick. So caps, any type of covering, head scarves, head bonnets. Chaps, caps, covers, because when they would go through treatment at the cancer infusion centers, when they're doing chemotherapy or radiation, they would always get cold. So you got your chaps, caps, covers, and candy, because they would always experience dry mouth. And so we threw the candy in. So we would do pretty large donation drives, and we work with a lot of the cancer infusion centers here in Virginia. And we make sure that because everybody doesn't have somebody. You could be going through treatment and you're showing up there by yourself. Everybody, didn't have blankets and, covering for their feet and, just the things that you need when you're going through treatment. So we felt like we could we needed to be the organization to breathe life back into the community to help do that. So with the chaps, caps, covers, and candy, it created a program for the I Am Now side of the house called Cares Giving. And Cares Giving is what we do every November, around the holiday season, and we do non-perishable items, and the items from the 4 C's goes into these large. We do these large black and white bags, and we tell it, and we tie yellow bows on them. It still signifies and tied into our event for who we are and for what we do. We fill those bags with those 4 C's items and a Thanksgiving meal, and we go out into the community, literally knocking on doors on our feet and donating these items to people that have gone through cancer or have recently run the bell or are still going through cancer. And so that's our Cares Giving, and we do that every year in November in both chapters. But this year, both chapters will still do Cares Giving, but we have also the breast cancer events going on at the same time. So we always have a lot of moving parts in I Am Now and for Now 2.0. So, just to say, we always have a lot going on, and this really and truly is an organization that was created to just give back, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
I love it. I've seen, and I wish I would have thought to upload some pictures and things like that of all the things that you all have done, because you all show that you go to their houses, and and how much it touched them to know that
Yeah,
somebody's thinking about them. This is what ministry is, and this is what people don't get. Everybody want to be behind the mic. Everybody want to
yes.
be up on the pulpit.
This is the part that
But
people don't get.
come on, Jesus was a
Yeah,
servant. He taught them to
yeah,
serve
yeah. And I
people.
make the girls laugh.
Mhm.
Yes, serving. That's what we're doing. We're serving. And we laugh about it all the time. I said, guess what? You can be cute and serve. Because
Come
a
on.
lot of times you're all dressed up and you don't have nothing to say. You can be
Mhm.
cute and still serve. And we talk about it all the time, and they always laugh about that. But really and truly, that's what we're doing. God's
That's
vessels, and
beautiful.
we're out here doing God's work, and that's what it's about at the end of the day.
I absolutely love it, love it,
And you
love
know a
it.
lot of the ladies that's in the chapter.
I sure do. I sure do. And I love what you're
Yeah,
doing. It
yeah.
is a blessing. It is a blessing. So can you let the people know how can they get in contact with you? How can they see what your organization does? Can you let them know, any social media platforms you're on and different things like that?
Sure. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram, and we do have a Twitter account. However, my VP Zanetta, she does a lot of the social media. For Facebook, if you put in "I Am Now" organization, you'll be able to pull us up. You can put in "No Ordinary Woman 2.0 Foundation." It will come right up, and you'll see both of the events running right now. If anybody out there would love to chime in and be sponsors, we accept sponsors at all given time, because it's all in giving back to the community, being able to show love to our sponsors, just being, a real live connecting with our community, boots on the ground, community engagement, just showing love and giving back, being good stewards and change champions for our communities. And I believe on Instagram, it is I Am Now organization on Instagram as well.
Awesome. My friend on here, my sister, that undisputed authentic chick, Rashida Haig, I'm gonna send her to you, right? Yeah, I'm gonna connect y'all together with some
Uh-oh.
things. Yeah, because I'm telling you,
Okay, okay.
what you do needs to be seen worldwide. This is a
Thank
worldwide thing that
you.
you're doing, and it's gonna spread. Like, see, she in agreement with me. I knew she felt me, but when you was talking, I was shaking my head. I said, "Ooh, I already know what's gonna happen next." There she goes. She got me. But yes, I
Yes,
just absolutely,
yes.
I
And
can't.
also, I need to drop our website.
Sure.
And our website is www.iamnoworg.com. And I see which it says, I think it said authentic. Yeah, we use a lot of that unapologetically me. So, yes, she would be right in alignment with us. So, and that's our website for I Am Now. And No Ordinary Woman is www.va noordinarywoman.com.
Is there any periods in between it or just N.O.W?
VA noordinarywoman.com. So it's no periods in between any of, not on the websites, no. But I am now is www.iamnoworg.com. Yep, and we're always, always trying to, keep the website updated. We still got a ways to go. We got to get some more updates on the website, but both events are there. And you can purchase tickets for both events locally there in Hampton. They're $25, and that's going to be a phenomenal event. We got a lot of people showing interest and sending messages about that event there. And then we have the one here in Virginia where 2 years ago we partnered with Hampton University for Passionately Pink. And so when NSU realized that we were with HU, they did turn into a few. So then NSU was like, hold up, we got to do a Passionately Pink. So now we're doing Passionately Pink and Paint with NSU, with Norfolk State University, for November 2nd. And again, we will honor one of our own at that event as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yes. What I'm going to do is when we're finished with this, I'm going to go
I see someone's
come back
writing
on
something.
and try to see if I can copy and paste the link to your website under this broadcast when we're done. So they will be able to click on it, and I'll probably try to redo the description so it'll have all the information under there for you. So they'll be able to go to it and get the information that's needed as well. Yes, yes. I just thank you so much for coming on here and just sharing, what all you all do, because you're doing a great work. I see your pictures all the time and how it's blessing so many people. And I just thank God that who knew that little girl that had to deal with the skin and had to deal with all of those things, who knew that God was really just using that to get you to be where you are now. And I'm just so grateful for, what he's doing in you, and not only in you, and in the women who are connected with you, because they are learning as well to, to do the same work. They're learning as well, that, hey, you can make it through. It's purpose in your pain. It is purpose in the turmoil. It's purpose in everything. And I'm just so grateful. This is another Hampton County person right here, Alexis Bowles. Do you know her?
It is. And I would not be able to do this alone, because really and truly, I'm
Oh, I'm sorry. I know it's a lag.
I think it's going out.
We have another hometown person as well on here.
I know.
Now, what were you saying?
Okay. Yeah, I see. It's like it's coming in and out, but that's fine. But like I said, I would not be able to do this alone. I am truly, truly grateful for the women. And you have to be transparent in order for people to want to follow or serve or do anything with you. Transparency and honesty comes first. And that's why I want to even want to be on board to work with you. And like I said, I was a shy kid growing up, and in some instances, I'm still a shy person, but God gave me this platform, and He gave me a way to still be able to communicate this and get the word out and get the work done. So at the end of the day, we're simply good stewards, and we're just serving and doing God's work. So
What a way to finish it off. So those of you who are coming on, you didn't get to catch it, please go back. The internet does what it does. Sometimes the connection is perfect, other times it shows out, but we could hear everything that she was saying. It may lag a little bit, but the sound was perfect. So please share this with those who are in those areas that they're in right now, who may want to connect with the organization that she's doing. If you are able to go back and listen to this again, it will bless you. Her story will bless you. And you can share this with other women who need this encouragement as well. And if you feel led to, definitely donate and sponsor and do what needs to be done so this work can continue to go forward. I just thank you so much, Tina. I thank you so much. Don't go nowhere, but I thank you for coming on here and for sharing the work that you are doing in our community. It's a blessing. I thank
Yes.
you so much for coming on here again, and may God continue to strengthen you and your family, and as you go forward in this work, may He continue to strengthen you and continue to send co-laborers to help with the work that He's doing in in you and in this organization. So thank you so much for coming on,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I will give you the information I said I was going to give you. That's why I want you to hold on real quick, and I'm going to give you some more information. But you all, thank y'all for joining us. And please be sure to follow her on Facebook, follow her organization so you can spread it and we can get the word out. And, because they're doing great things. And this is what it's all about. This is kingdom work. It don't always have to be, one way. God can show Himself mighty through many ways. And we thank God that she's allowing Him to do this through her and through those who are willing to be a part of this organization. So, you all, we love you guys. We will see y'all next time, and y'all be blessed. Bye.